guess so. Okay. Hello, everybody. If you haven't joined us before, my name's Sam, and I am today sat here with my friend of about 2 years, 1 year. I don't know.
It's one.
It's only one
But
year. Yeah, it was December last. Yeah, it was December last year, wasn't it?
mm,
Egle and I met in Glastonbury at a friend's house anyway, and she was staying there serendipitously, and we started talking. And then over the last year or so, I've been up to see her in Scotland, and we've just always wanted to do a podcast, or something like this anyway. But Egle, to me, I'm going to describe Egle in the way that I see her, is a very unassuming being who, when you get to know and realize and speak to her about all the things that she's managed to embody in this lifetime, like doing for example, a 9 day dry fast, which loads of people would say was impossible. Your body would die and all the rest of it. And she's done that in Montenegro. Montenegro? Yeah.
and Siberia.
And Siberia. So she's done two of them. There you go. And healed herself of Lyme's disease as well through doing that. So it's like proper cool to listen to these. But yeah, like I say, if you walk past her in the street, you just be like, oh, there's a sweet lady there, she's amazing. But once you start to really realize what it is that Egla's embodied in this lifetime, it's just like incredible. So she's a very powerful healer as well. And now she's moving into all of those things. But anyway, enough from me. Egla, hello. We've
Hello.
we've
Oh,
been speaking
Sam.
for about half an hour, something like this already. But yeah, I just want Egla to say who she is, what she's doing, and yeah, a little bit more about herself. So take it away, Egla. There you
Oh,
go.
thank you, Sam. Actually, I don't know what that means. Unassuming. But
To be
thank you.
unassuming, to be very sort of I don't know, like innocent, but that's the way I see you is like a very innocent being, yet you have all this power like locked up within you. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, unassuming is to be, yeah, just like you wouldn't recognize your innate power, I guess, until you started speaking to you and realizing more of the things that you've done. But very empowering, very, very empowering being anyway. But yeah, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I don't know. I always freeze when someone asks me to introduce myself. But I'm Egle. I'm from Lithuania. I'm 37 now. And yes, I'm walking my path as a healer, which is still quite new to me because I feel I procrastinated so much of my life and do other things. And now realizing that it all led me to actually develop my skills as a healer and space holder. And yeah, I feel we really clicked straight away because we're so much both. We are so interested and all the healing modalities. And yeah, just what inspiring for me is that we are sovereign beings and we are strong and we are self-healers. And we are here not just to live this mundane existence, but yeah, life is so broad and so much to experience and so much to learn, and it's such a beautiful journey and such a difficult journey at times. Yeah, and mm, I healed myself from Lyme disease, but not just on my own, but with the help of one amazing doctor who is a fasting expert. And I was even before healing myself, I told myself that this is in a way exciting because I was so healthy that there was maybe no way for me to create like a health condition myself. But I got this from a tick bite, and I felt like, yes, if I want to become a healer, so every true healer needs to go on this journey and heal themselves. And so I was a bit excited to do that. And that was a big initiation for me and opened up and really changed me. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, you hear it said amongst like all the healer communities first. in order to help heal others, you first must understand yourself, isn't it? And I think that's and it's that thing of, we could, I mean, for years I was like, oh, woe is me, it's like all this stuff happens to me and blah, 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 blah. But when you realize that everything is happening for you, including any illnesses that you get, any broken bones, anything like that, it's also that you can learn to push through that discomfort in order to break yourself into who you truly are, really. That's it. And it's a part of the path, isn't it? But can you speak a little more about like how you managed to heal your Lyme's disease?
Yeah, I feel like every tough experience is a blessing, and it truly is because there is gold in that. Like there is gold uh, in every like lesson. So yeah, well, basically, I had the tick bite, and then the doctors forgot to tell me that the test came positive. So I kind of forgot also to chase it. So by the time I found out that I had Lyme disease, there were like maybe months passed. So the antibiotics perhaps wouldn't have cured me. And it was maybe 4 or 5 months. And also, I was just after quite a big surgery and a general anesthetic, and I was in Lithuania without my doctors. And then suddenly, my doctors in Scotland told me that, oh, by the way, you've got Lyme disease. So, so they said, well, maybe take these antibiotics for 3 weeks. But I was in Lithuania and I just found this homeopathic doctor. And he said, well, maybe take just for 10 days. That will be enough.
Mhm.
So I took these antibiotics and it was just enough for me then to start getting ill because what antibiotics do, they actually lower your immunity and
Mhm.
then the disease can present itself. Because before that, I think even if you have Lyme disease in your system and if you have good immunity, your immunity tackles that. But it can present itself when the immunity gets lowered, uh,
Mhm.
you know, with other things or emotional stress and just stress in general or taking antibiotics or,
Mhm.
you know, and it was too late for the antibiotics to work and also maybe it was not a like a full course but don't think it would have worked. So then by the work of grace I feel like out of nowhere somehow, like my friend who was actually from Pakistan, so we do this like what is it called, Ramadan. So he said, Egle, why don't you try fasting? And he said, even better, why don't you try dry fasting? And I
Mhm.
tried fasting and dry fasting before, but it was just like 1 or 2 days. And honestly, I didn't feel the difference between dry fasting and water fasting when you do it for a short time. And I felt, well, maybe. And by that time, the Lyme disease has presented itself. So I had all kinds of neurological symptoms. And what was like most uncomfortable, I feel that was like numbness in my limbs and
Mhm.
hands and like actually sometimes in my face. And there was a lot of brain fog and memory problems. And I feel like I was so just ADHD and I just couldn't focus as if like I was like this starting
Mhm.
like even being at work, like hearing the instructions, but I feel like oh, I'm not following it. So I'm just like on mushrooms. I felt like that. It just, but it wasn't fun.
Mhm.
And there was like sleep problems and breathing problems, and my heart rate was like that, and I was like actually getting really anxious and depressed as my body was fighting something. Yeah, and I tried actually Chinese herbs and like all kinds of herbal remedies, and that helped. But when I started to do dry fasting, it was like after just like a short amount of time, I started to feel like better and better. So actually, I got to know about dry fasting just because of that friend and like just Googling on my way back home, like dry fasting Lyme disease. And I
Mhm.
found like this woman. like who healed her Lyme disease with this amazing doctor from Siberia. And she's called Michelle Slater, and she wrote a book, Starving to Heal in Siberia. And I thought, okay, where is this clinic in Siberia? I must just Google it. And I thought, like, okay, dry fasting clinic in Siberia, like mountain, Altai, I don't know, Siberia, Altai. And then while I was on the bus, then just going from that event where I was, I just found this doctor who's called Dr. Sergei Filanov, and he lives in Siberia, and he's a real doctor, but he dedicated his life um, to research fasting and dry fasting as a healing from like all kinds of chronic conditions. And I thought, like, I found then a little Facebook page, and I thought, well, this is definitely not active. But then I saw dry fasting retreat in Montenegro. Like it was, I don't know, I think it was 2023. Oh no, I think so. Yeah, January. And I thought, oh, this is going to be next year. I
Hmm.
can maybe join it. And I thought, how much would that cost? And where is Montenegro? And what should I do? So I Googled it that, oh, Montenegro is like this little country, which is like not Monaco. It's quite this like country which is maybe not so much developed, but it's so beautiful with so much wild beauty and these beautiful, friendly people.
Hmm.
And somehow I thought I was crazy, but I joined that dry fasting retreat and I met the doctor and yeah, he's truly incredible by the like of all the knowledge and like ancient healing ways, like Russian healing ways, you know.
Hmm.
And yeah, I did one fast, which was like 9 day dry fast in Montenegro, and then I did another one with him after 2 months, which
Hmm.
was another 9 day.
Hmm.
And I
So
feel
just
these.
for people's sort of like awareness, what does a 9 day dry fast like incorporate like in general, just for people who've never heard of it before?
Oh yeah, so it's just as it sounds. So yeah, this is like spending 9 days and 9 nights without food and no water, and actually no contact with water. So we were not brushing our teeth, and not showering, not washing our hair, not even if you can, don't wash your hands. So no contact with water, and of
Hmm.
course, like no food. But so yeah, and your system, what happens that your body starts to go into autophagy and
Hmm.
start to like burn and consume everything what's not healthy in you, like all the toxic debris, because every cell then is trying to survive and then drops like all the toxins and everything what's not healthy in the cell in the fat, and then it starts to kind of like burn with the fat, and you still pee, so every day you pee at least a little bit, and then that's how you actually, release everything. And in order to help yourself, you have to help your liver, so it's good to move and good to walk. Yeah.
Does he incorporate like the specific movements or like qigongs or anything like that to help shift stuff? Because I've just like really started to look at what qigong can do for you through Sifu and things, and he's saying, it's just like any ailment that you have, he's always like, oh, we've got a qigong for that, even to the point where he got a video removed because it said about cancer, treating cancer with a qigong. And he's like, oh, I've got a qigong for cancer. And they went, no, 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 you can't have that one up. You know what I mean? And so it's like, all this energy movement and just to get across to people, everybody who's maybe listening to this who doesn't believe in like energy movement and manipulating energy and stuff like this, think about, how does a Wi-Fi signal get to your phone? That's invisible. We can't see it. We can't perceive it. Maybe some of us can feel it, but that is an invisible force that's putting information into your phone. Similarly, our bodies work the same way. You know, as on a third dimensional awareness, we have our bodies here, very visceral. It's there, it's tactile, it's stuff. But then there are also other dimensions layered over that dimension that are more energetic based, isn't it? You know, so like shifting and moving these energies is actually a real thing. You know, it's like why you feel better when you go for a run because you're literally like clearing parts of your aura and stuff like that, or working out. And that's what Sifu says is like anything can be a qigong, anything can move energy. That's why you feel better when you go and exercise. You know, it's like because you are shifting and moving those energies. So just to try and get that into people who maybe don't believe in the energy work or anything like this, it's a very real thing. You know. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, the energy is, we heal when we get into the presence, because then we can take in the energy from the heaven and from the earth. Um, so in order for body to heal, you need to allow that space and presence, because also the dry fasting can only happen when you are still and calm. That's why you can only do these very long dry fast in nature, because like your every cell will start to absorb like the moisture from the air, so you don't want to absorb the polluted air. But also like when you dry fast, you stop sleeping. But in order for body to, because it's going through so much stress, you need to be calm. That's the only way to kind of endure it, you know, and not to exit it. But yeah, everything is energy. And so because I know that you are also interested in like five elements, like John, our friend, taught us this. So that's part of this Chinese medicine, and Qigong is also amazing. And like during my dry fasting retreats, we were we were being, well, we had all these massages and treatments, which are Russian, but I think they are connected to like Chinese medicine a lot. So we had something called internal massages, which basically helps all your organs to detoxify, especially the liver. And that was really, I think, very, very helpful, because otherwise you would just like feel so not good. And of course, you don't feel good during fasting, but like you would feel way worse. And I
Mhm.
feel so that internal organ massage was quite profound. And then I connected the dots that perhaps Dr. Sergey took it from also these five elements, and the Chinese medicine, these all the system that works with all the organs is like five, the most important organs in your system, and you can actually affect these organs by sending the vibration, by sending the sound, you
Mm,
know. Or with qigong you actually like you tap and then you like massage and like go in a spiral and like send the inner smile. And I feel the energy always comes first, because
mm,
that's how we get ill, when the energy gets blocked. So
mm,
if someone is still thinking that we're just matter, you're really missing out. That's
yeah.
like one very important piece of information, because we are vibration and we are energy. And like once you start to move that energy, you don't need to believe anything, but just like start, you know. And then yeah, like why, when you really like shake everything off or go for a run or just move that energy, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just vibrating all over, or just feel
Mm,
so much lighter.
mhm.
And that's
Yeah,
because like we
totally.
are unblocking that energy pathways.
Yeah, it's this little exercise that everybody could do now is just like literally shake your hands first of all for a
Yeah.
little while, and then you shake your arms, your forearms, and then you shake all of your arms, and then you just shake your whole body, and literally, like, I can already feel it moving the energy about, you know, and that's it. It's like, wow, there, my hands are tingling, you know. It's oh, well, it's just the blood down the end of it. No, it's more than that, you know. It's that real emanation, especially when I do swirls like this. It really gets that toroidal field growing, you know. That's what I feel anyway. And it's so simple as just literally shaking, you know. You want to feel better right now. I remember did a video on it along like 2 years ago or something. I was like, you want to feel better right now? Copy me. And I just went into like absolute just shaking mode, literally as violent as you can. And everybody was like, wow, God, I feel absolutely incredible now, you know? And it's just those little things, isn't it, to snap you out of the stagnancy, because I believe in a lot of the problems that stem from this lack of moving and things is because of our sedentary lifestyle. Like a lot of people just sit on a computer all day, or they're not moving at all, and they wonder why all this energy is just being constricted and stagnated within the body, and then we get illnesses from that as well. And it's like modern day living, especially in the West, doesn't really allow for that movement in your everyday life, isn't it? You know, it's like so going to the gym or doing yoga or qigongs or simple things like this can really help to move that energy about, and then the results speak for themselves, isn't it? You know, but yeah, interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
It's so fascinating. But for me, what's like also so fascinating that when we feel that, oh, I don't have energy or I've got a blockage there. Like for me, what's fascinating that we have all the energy, we have everything. And if there is a blockage in our system, there is so much energy underneath. So that's
Mm,
what's exciting for me. And we can access that. If
mhm,
like I always felt like my creativity was blocked, or that like I have like sexual blocks because of my sexual trauma. And I discovered once I started to work with my sexual energy and sexuality and like this kundalini, I felt like, oh my gosh, there is so much energy there underneath that blockage and with like
mhm,
anything. So like we are not lacking anything. There's like we're just like a power, we are walking powerhouses of
mhm,
energy. And there are so
totally.
many ways to unblock it and just get into that flow. Yeah.
Yeah, move it about, isn't it? And it's like all the blockages are, in essence, in an energetic sense, it's like, first of all, like removing the labels of any of this stuff is really powerful as well, because when you start to just, that's why meditation is really powerful as well, is just literally sitting and observing the energy that is in your body, and then you can actually manipulate it and move it around, but it's there, it's just locked up. You know, it's like you beautifully say, actually, and it's helped me see it in a different way. Is like it's got a tight bound on it, but it's wanting to be expressed, isn't it? That's it. But it's like our holdings of it, or the way that we've been brought up, or whatever it is. It's like, oh, if I step into that, or I release all that energy, what am I going to do with that power almost? And it's similar with the mental capacity as well. So then comes a lot of responsibility with all that energy, I guess, isn't it? So it's like it coincides, the mind, body, and spirit all in one, isn't it? And it's that triangle of energy, really. Um, yeah, it's fascinating to sort of realize that, but it is all these blockages and things, they are just like resources, for us to utilize, but yeah, it's almost like finding that you have that much power can be a bit overwhelming for people sometimes, I feel. And maybe that's where there could be like, a lot of people say in Kundalini awakenings, they maybe fall into a bit of psychosis because they're not grounding that energy down. And it was definitely something that, no, I didn't feel actually like in my first, after I'd done a few plant medicines and things, that first, oh my God, wow, it was like I managed to harmonize it all within my body and be very grounded with it as well. And that was a really beautiful thing. But I feel as though there is a element of the people who I speak to nowadays, if they're getting a lot of ear ringing or whatever it is, there's an imbalance somewhere. So go outside and literally plant your feet on the ground and just breathe in and imagine that energy all being equalized within your body, and then you're able to utilize it in a way that's not too up here and it's not too stuck down here either. That's it. Yeah, yeah,
It's in the heart. That's
yeah.
the meeting point. I'm
Mhm,
very fascinated about, oh yeah, about the connection actually and the alignment. That's where maybe I'm at, like really getting aligned with
mhm,
all my being, like for what my soul came here to do, and also to be as grounded on the earth, but also connected to something higher,
mm,
you know. Um,
yeah. It's almost like
Yeah,
we're bridges, isn't it? Yeah, we're bridges, and like that bridge has to be very sure of itself in the middle, isn't it? You know, and it's like it's a really good meditation for people to do is imagine that energy meeting. You know, you go up to your soul star and your earth star as well, and then just harmonize it in the middle somewhere, and then it grows out from there, and it's almost like that green emanation as I envision it when I do meditate on it, it just grows out and out and out and out and out, and it just feels really beautiful within yourself. And then you're able to utilize that from that balanced place, isn't it? Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. I feel like we're here to express our unique essence and to truly connect to this unique energy or vibration
Mhm.
that is like just purely ours. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, emanate that vibration and go in the direction where our souls are calling us to go. And it's not about what we do, but like, what do we bring, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
that energy, that inspiration, the same as you, like, because you, I feel like you really empower people and just,
Mhm.
like, you really inspire. Yeah, you really inspire me. Every time I
Yeah.
talk with you, I'm like, oh, I'm just so uplifted.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I receive that, Egle. Thank you. You know, it's like, and
Yeah.
I do exactly the same with you. You know, it's like I do. I do speak about you a lot because you're one of those people who I meet and I go like, wow, flipping heck, like and I know we go through ups and downs on this journey, like we all do. You know, it's like those moments of learning. And I remember speaking to you like I don't know a couple of months ago or something, and it was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing anymore, or it's like I'm not happy in the job that I'm doing anymore, and I was just like, oh yeah, because you sounded like at that lower ebb, and this is the thing with the people who I speak to, and they're at that lowest point, and I'm going like, oh, it's about to take off. Just wait, it's like this is it, is getting so uncomfortable that we break out into this beautiful thing. But there does seem to be that wave, form of the universe, and we are just the universe, I guess, in essence. But yeah, thank you for that because I love what I do, but only because I can recognize with my hero's journey, like where other people are at within themselves, and it's just like, to know true bliss, you also know you have to know great suffering as well, and that great suffering is the thing that allows the capacity to feel down here as the same as the capacity to feel up here. So when people are in those situations, instead of me always, but society would go, oh, that's terrible. Oh, it's awful, isn't it? But when actually it's like I break that chain and I go, oh, it's fantastic. Just wait. This is incredible. This is the moment that we take off. Because I only know that from my own personal experiences. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it's well worth it. You can't have the highs without the lows. But then you learn how to, like we speak about quite often now, is is balancing that in the middle so that there aren't these extreme highs and these extreme lows anymore. You're drifting along like that, just observing everything and not being attached to it so much, as being a good or a bad thing. It's just yeah, that's the beautiful part of the journey that it gets to, I feel, of which I'm sure there will be more critical highs and critical lows in that as you go along and learn more, because that's what we came here to do, isn't it? And that's the exciting thing. And it's a beautiful thing of what my mate said the other day. It was like, we're probably drifting around in like some higher ninth dimension. And then we were just sat there and it's just like, it's a bit boring, this, isn't it? Like, do you want to go back down to earth? And we're like, yeah, let's go back down to earth again. And it's like, and I do feel as though a lot of souls have come here at this time to bring that higher dimensional awareness down to earth and be that bridge for other people so that they maybe don't have to fall down into the depths that you did. But if they do as well at the same time, then there's great learning in that as well. So, in essence, what I'm trying to say is it's all good. If you're listening to this, it's all good. Yeah. It just hasn't
And it
finished
will
yet.
also pass. Um,
Yes.
that's what I learned from my meditations and also from plant medicine journeys. So from like Vipassana, I learned like really, and it's never too much. You have to remind yourself, this will shall pass, and this will shall pass, and this will shall pass. And I'm just here observing that and enjoying that, and also noticing when I'm not enjoying that, because sometimes
Mhm.
are really difficult, but that will also pass, and
Mhm.
there's learning in everything. And with plant medicine journeys, I guess like my journeys really changed very quickly when I realized that every time when this like big wave is coming, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I
Mhm.
feel like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I started to really like say thank you for everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this experience. And then, okay, more is coming. And okay, I feel my ground and I feel my breath. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, gosh, this is so uncomfortable. This is so dark. And thank you, thank you. And then it's like, oh, changes so quickly. It's like, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Gratitude, vitamin G. Somebody, it was Craig who was on his podcast the other day, who was just like, vitamin G, man. And I'm like, yeah, vitamin G, gratitude, because gratitude is the thing that really allows everything to come in. Just take your daily dose of vitamin G, people, wake up in the morning and just go like, wow, thanks. That dream state was awesome last night, and I don't know what's going to happen today, but I'm grateful for it, whatever. Because once you realize that everything is happening for us, then it's hard to not love it all, isn't it? And that's the state of bliss. Everybody thinks that bliss is, oh, nothing bad will happen anymore. And it's like, no, no, like challenging things will happen, but it's just your perspective on those things is, oh, right, okay, I'm going to grow and learn out of this. And those actually ramp up as we grow in our awareness and our ability to stay in that centered place, that grounded place. Then we're able to really sort of like notice the gifts, and they are gifts, they're all gifts of what the universe is trying to create within us. And that's it. That's the beauty of it. When you get to that point, then you can just sort of go, oh, great, cool, thank you. Like, wow, thank you for all the rest that's coming as well. Because it is, there's a lot of souls on earth right now who aren't in that mental state, I guess. Um, and just by you being yourself and not reacting the way that everybody else reacts, it also through osmosis like teaches them how to respond in that way. It's like, why aren't you freaking out about this? And it's just like, oh, because it's all good, isn't it? And they go like, how is this good? And it's like, well, I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out, aren't we? And that's the awareness of bliss is just like, yeah, cool, it's all right. There's a beautiful going through in letting go actually. And it says about, there was a car crash and gauging on where you are on the scale of consciousness, and it is like a measured thing. 200's about neutrality, but anything below 200, your consciousness can almost be used to feed the loosh here on Earth, if you want to call it that. Whereas above that, everything that happens to you and how you respond to it is completely in from coming from a place of empowerment, and then love for it. And it's a beautiful thing because for example, when I was in the post office the other month, um, I stood in the queue and the guy went out, came back in and said, whose is the Skoda outside? And I was like, oh yeah, that's mine. He's like, oh, lorry's just hit the side of the car, and taken your wing mirror off and things. And I was like, all right, no bother at all. Just tell the driver, not to worry. It's all good. Don't worry at all. Okay. And I'll be out in a minute to see him. And it was like, anybody else would be like, oh, for fuck's sake, and like, can't believe this always happens to me, and things like that. In a victim mentality, as soon as I went out, I didn't care about the car. I was like, are you all right? Like, don't worry about this, because I could feel it was like, oh, I don't know who this person is who's coming to thingy this. And it was just like, are you all right? Don't worry about that. It's a car, it's fine. It'll all get sorted and things. I just want you to know that I'm not bothered about the car, you know what I mean? I just want to make sure that you're okay within yourself. And that's really coming at it from a place of love, like. And most of society as it is currently would react and go, oh God, this is woe is me and all this sort of stuff. When it actually, if you can put yourself in the shoes of the person who's in front of you always, then you stand a much better way of transmuting that energy, for the better, I think. And that was just a really beautiful example of it. And it's like when it happened and the guy came in and said to us like, oh, somebody's just hit your car, basically. I could hear my guides going, has he got it? Oh, he's already got it, you know. It's like you already see it for what it is, you know, and it's like, so those tests will happen along the path. And it's just about how we respond to it as to if we grow from it or we go back down again. And that's our choice always, you know. Don't know how we get onto that, but there you go anyway. Um, what else? Anything else to say, Egle? What would you like to say? Go nuts.
Okay, well, for me, what's like very inspiring, but also like, I guess like, oh, we react like or respond in this way when we kind of feel good or have this experience, and when our energy is like higher, like we
Mm,
are in this high vibrating energy. And I feel like how to reach that point, because like I can see a lot of people like the more I observe, I see we just play stories all the time, and it kind of comes like from this like low vibration. Maybe when
mm,
we feel like extremely good, then we can have like more positive thoughts. But it's like how to work with this energy and also how to work with the mind. For
mm,
me, it's actually about taking like full responsibility for for my reactions and my
mm,
responses and how I create the reality. Because that's how I healed Lyme disease. Like first thing, what I did as a preparation is actually I tuned in very deeply how I created this condition for myself. And once that was kind of really, once I understood that, I felt like my Lyme disease was healed
mm,
already. And I was just doing like the last bit, which was like the physical bit, just to release that from my like body to heal. But the energetics was like I needed to start vibrate higher and to
mm,
take full responsibility and to understand and then to envision myself being like healthy again and vibrant. And that's
mm,
why it happened quite quickly, like for myself. But I
mm,
guess I always try to inspire people how we can like get ourselves to that higher place where everything just flows easier, and when
mm,
you get that space kind of, or your head is above the water so that you can see a bit more, and you can choose more in your life, and yeah, just
yeah,
be
it's
in a
more and
better
more
state.
almost empowerment, isn't it? You know, and I think it's, well, for me anyway, it was definitely about seeing that I was worthy of living a better life. Or, I mean, it all ties back to self-love, doesn't it? And it's kind of like the universe will unconditionally support us in whatever it is that we want to do and be. Um, whether or not it's to live a crappy life, where, woe is me and all the rest of it. The universe loves us that much that it will go, yeah, cool. If you want to live that life, I'll support you in that. That's your choice. That's your free will choice. And it's almost like we consent to it. And exactly what you were saying, it's looking in the mirror and taking accountability um, of what is occurring in your life and how we create everything that happens in our life as well. And that's the thing that a lot of people maybe are unsure of, or it's like a, again, it's the responsibility, and then you get to make choices on your own life. But if you want to live a life that is a good life, then the universe will unconditionally support you in that as well. But I think because there's a level of control here that manipulates that to a certain degree, it makes it harder to get into that state and stay in that state consistently of self-love, isn't it? But are there any practices that you follow that have helped you to continually stay in a place of consistent sort of high vibration, I guess, or self-love?
Well, actually, yeah, many. So that's the beauty, because there are like many practices, but uh, what brought me a lot of self-love and this initial healing was actually like working with mushrooms. Because when I
Mm,
started to really tune into my feelings a lot and spend a lot of time on my own and in nature, and
mhm,
naturally my choices became like even like healthier, just aligned, because I could really like feel myself. Because it's not about like reading books or taking other people's advices, but you just the more you tune into yourself, like the more you know.
mm,
Because no one else can tell you, and you don't need to listen to like so many people. But
mm,
we just respond with our system. So like a lot of self-love came from there, and but a lot of energy and like I feel like this happiness and light came when I started to practice Wim Hof. I don't
mhm.
practice it so much now, but that was like a big phase in my life when I moved
Okay.
to Scotland because it's so cold there. And yeah, I started to really practice his breath work and cold swimming. And I felt like that was, I guess, like a lot of men connect to this method because it's
Mhm,
really chills your mind. It's like completely empty after,
mhm,
because it's just like that's not how you will survive in a very cold water. Like you really need this, and your other parts of the brain are activated. So Wim Hof was a big part, and like just this cold, this like doing something uncomfortable, but to the degree that it's still good for you, you
mm,
know? Yeah, and breath work was yeah quite a big part, and of course all the plant medicine work. But I guess what's the most important is how we do live like a day by day, each day. Do we
mm,
have space and time in our lives, for example, for a morning practice, like whatever it is? And we can't do so many things, like every day, but just like choosing one that feels quite aligned to move that energy, either
mm,
that being like breath work and like some kind of like physical movement. I guess like we can't neglect our body and we can't neglect our like just this mind state because our minds is like our gardens and it's like what are we cultivating there? Like what
mm,
kind of like thoughts and just becoming so mindful like what we like maybe what information we're putting into our minds, because there are so many distractions and literally like now we can, yeah, it's all flooded in us and
mm.
our like minds, we can, and sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, do I want to know that, because we can
Yeah.
follow so many people, we can listen to so many even like podcasts and like read so many books. But I guess like how much do I want to know? Because like, is there a space to embody my own life? To really
Mm,
like, what do I like? Is my room tidy? It's
yeah.
like, what do I have time to like cook for myself? Do I take time to walk maybe that path, like to the park? Do I know my park? Do I know my neighbors? Do I have time for my friends? You just, they have space in your life and to choose so
Mm,
wisely and intentionally, like what to
mm,
do. And I
yeah.
guess fasting, that's I think that was very transformational for me because it is like a spiritual, like a deep spiritual experience. But what that did for me, because with fasting, I detoxified the toxic beliefs. Because, like, with these toxins, I think I released toxic beliefs about myself. And
Mm,
actually, I couldn't believe, but fasting brought me a lot of like worth, like self worth. Like,
mm,
because when I was fasting and meditating every day, all these times, suddenly I started to feel like very worthy, like, oh yeah, surely, like I'm so worthy of love. I'm so worthy of like the best man, in my life, like this wonderful being. It's like it was a no-brainer, but just because I just didn't have doubts about myself anymore. So I guess like these like even physical toxins are connected to like how we think, and
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that
beautiful.
was like really,
There's always that contrast, isn't there? And there's always the similarities as we are physically releasing toxins as well. We're also releasing mental toxins as well. It's the same one and the same sort of thing, isn't it? And I'd like to say about that link to the amount of distractions that are in the world nowadays, like phones. I know that I'm addicted to my phone, to a certain degree, and I have an unhealthy relationship with it. And to be able to speak that out openly and honestly is step one to being able to recognize it and change it. But I notice a pattern not just within myself, but everybody who I speak to. It's like you say, when we go on social media and we have cultivated an idea about ourselves or how we're going to live our lives, then it's almost like the internet will show you both sides of, it's like almost, right, for an example, my friend Alex started to get into meditation. And then immediately the universe sends you, everybody says the algorithm. I believe that it's all divinely guided to confuse you so much that you take the power back to yourself. Anyway, so basically he started meditating, and then the universe said, "Oh, meditation's bad for you," in a video. And it was like, and he listened to this and he came to me and I said, "Ah, right, this is really interesting because in my life, when I've made a decision on something, the universe will then show you the good and the bad about whatever it is." And it was a really interesting dynamic to see play out because it's almost like it's trying to take you away from any external impetus or any external stimuli so that you focus back on yourself and you stick to what it is. Like, oh, I'm going to be vegan now, and you'll just be shown a load of carnivore stuff and say, oh, that's good for you. Or it's like the opposite is true. And I find that really intriguing, to see it play out for a lot of others as well. It's like, oh, well, the universe gave me a sign saying that this was wrong. Now the universe is just showing you, and then we determine whether or not that thing is good or bad. And it's a brilliant like system. But I think about like back in the 1950s, how many distractions were there other than maybe a newspaper, or a radio if somebody was lucky enough to have one in your thing. Now we have an infinite amount of information on these things. We have computers, we have everybody trying to pull us every which way and all the rest, and it's very unnatural. So no wonder, especially as sensitives, no wonder we're feeling overwhelmed and our nervous systems are dysregulated and stuff. But the beauty of that is there is no good or bad in it, is it gets us to that point of confusion within ourselves that we then go, right, I'm just going to listen to what is going on in here now. And I think I'm just going to go with that. And then you start to filter all that stuff away, or you recognize it and observe it and realize, oh, there's good and bad in that. There's good and bad in that as well. And then you start to discern your way. But I feel like, with identity politics and all of this sort of stuff right now on Earth, it's reaching a critical point where it's all going to go boom, and everybody's just going to go, we're so confused. We can't believe what's on the screens. Where do we go now? We look within. And that's the beauty of it. I can see it steps down and it's doing that now. Whereas if you're still in it, it's still very confusing, but that confusion is there um, to everything is happening for us. So that confusion is there to help us realize our true selves, which is we are source consciousness. But that's maybe why it's getting so ultimately distracted right now. But do you have anything to say on that? That's just my thoughts on that. Anyway, I don't know.
I love always how like I do have ADHD, and with so much energy I have it even strongly now. But I love how like something important is coming, like I need to like, go like on a trip, and they have like all these things that I want to do, or I just plan to do. And then I just wake up and it's like, oh, okay, what's the most important? Just can't do this. Okay, this is not important. This is not important. So like, okay, just get up, get dressed. Okay, I go now. It's like, so in a way, like for me, we are living in the time of distractions, and when it's like too much, then we just like connect with what's the most important,
Mm,
and that's
totally.
it.
and we get all of these
Yeah.
options as well, which is really nice. But yeah, for somebody who has our brains, isn't it? In essence, it's just like, oh, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that, I can do everything. And it's just like, no, hang on a minute, I've just got to focus on one thing here. Yeah, and we'll just go with that and see where that takes me, which is hard sometimes, but
No,
I'm
but
definitely
what I
finding.
realized about healing and anything in life, that even if we just take like one path and fully embody that and just stick with one method and just fully dive in, like, it will take us there. And that's your
Yeah.
beauty. It's just like finding or that method or that way coming into your life and just taking that, you know.
Mm,
Like for me,
totally.
that was like fasting with Lyme disease, because like otherwise I would have like just overwhelm myself with like all the different things, you know, how I could have healed that. So, but I
Mm,
just took one and just fully took it. I just fully stepped like,
mm.
and the
And you,
same with life. I feel like our souls are here to express in a like very unique, authentic way. And yeah, it's just like just here to be ourselves and yeah,
totally.
to
And it is, it's the following of that next most exciting thing that you can think about doing. Go and do that thing, and it's like then your path will change infinitely down the line, and it will always take you on to your highest timeline, I guess. And there's an interesting thing that there's a guy on Instagram, and he does these little challenges. I don't know why this I do know why this is coming to mind actually. For anybody who's like thinking, oh, I can't succeed at whatever it is, this guy like throws, I don't know, pens into like, you know, pens that are just slightly bigger than that pen from across the room and stuff like this. And he's got a little timer there, and you're watching the timer, and it's just him doing this again and again. He's always completed every single almost seemingly impossible task that he's ever set out to do because he's committed to it, and he's literally just sitting there day after day sometimes until he gets it. And it's like the internet keeps showing me this guy because it's like whatever you choose to do, we will support you in it, and you will always succeed at whatever it is if you keep going at it. If you keep being it and loving it, it helps if you love it. Keep doing it, and you will always succeed. And it's like that's the beauty of it. And I'm so surprised at how quickly this guy does some of these things. You know what I mean? It's like they're amazing to watch, and I get the energy behind it because it literally is saying like just keep going at it. It's all right. It hasn't finished yet. Ah, you got it. There you go. Well done, you. Pat yourself on the back. And it's like that's a really empowering thing for me. So yeah, it's literally right now. I'm going right. Let's book men's gathers. Let's get it together. Let's just see. Let's go and do and be, and it'll all work out. And it's like I can see it forming into much more than that as well. And it's like all the universe wants us to be is who we are. That's it. And I think there's a big part of this where we surrender. There's a book called The Surrender Experiment. I haven't read it, but I get the premise of what people have described because it's kind of the way that I live my life. And it's like when I first met you, it was like I'm just following numbers and I'm following synchronicities, and that's how I live my life. And it's like whenever I've deviated off or I haven't listened to those synchronicities, then I've always been led further away from what it feels like truly soulful for me to do in life. Um, and yeah, that's a big thing that I think I don't plan that much. It's like just follow that next highest excitement, really, isn't it? That's the beauty of it. And then your soul will be leading you to wherever it is that you need to go and what you need to do. But there's no rush to it either, and that's the beautiful thing because I'm very much an energy that's I like to just sit and be, like you said, the isolation is a critical part of this so that you can really catalyze that love for yourself and know who you are, especially to anybody who's sensitive. Being away from everybody else's energy is like a big plus. Whereas everybody's, oh no, all my friends have left me and I'm on my own and all the rest. I'm going, great, great. That's where you learn what it is that you truly want to do in life and who you are, I guess. And it's just a stage of the journey, isn't it? But can you mention anything about your isolation phase or, do you still go through them? I like spending a lot of time by myself at the universe going, no, you must go out there and do stuff now with people. I'm like, okay, okay, let's do it.
Actually, I love spending time on my own, maybe even a bit too much. But I just love my own company so much. And also through training as a healer, I realized how much I need that, like this alone time, because I am very sensitive. And like Lyme disease and also fasting made me even more sensitive. And I need the space to feel myself and to really like, yeah, really tune into myself. Because from that place, I can meet others and, you know, for that meeting to be exciting, because I have my energy to offer. But yeah, I feel like also really need community of like-minded people, especially like women at this time.
Mm,
Um, but I guess now I choose like more like wisely, because like I don't choose from a desperate place.
mhm,
I feel it's like the most important thing almost in life to be like very comfortable with ourselves and like to experience the presence of being,
mm,
because otherwise that even meeting can't happen, because like if we are like, I don't know, somewhere else, so even if we meet others, we don't really meet them, and I feel that when people are not present with me, and I don't like that. And sometimes if I'm too frazzled, I also can't like stay with others for too long because I feel like, you know. But for me, that I had a big trauma, I think, not being worthy of connection because
mm,
I was left when I was very small at the hospital. Like my dad had to leave me, and I was only 1.5 years old. And I
mm,
think that really disconnected me and I became a codependent, or like, it doesn't matter these labels, but I just felt not worthy of connection. And I guess, especially actually with women. And for me, that was such a big healing journey. And I healed a lot, like, especially with plant medicines, like actually like connecting myself to myself and with mushrooms and also other healings I did. But then I guess like the most healing I received from being in a community of like training as a healer and actually accepting that others I train with are like my family
mm,
and starting to show these parts of me and shadows and like unworthiness of connection and how much I long for connection and how much I long for connection with myself. Yeah, but a lot
mm,
of transformation I feel happen when we uh, go under the rocks as I call it. So go like and spend time with ourselves because like that
mm,
time comes with each big transformation that we need to go into our darkness or under the rocks into our cave,
mm,
as like to shed yet another skin. And
mm,
yeah, because if you are still in the world, and like just like do these other things and still try to fit in, maybe with the people that maybe you're not supposed to be anymore, and
mm,
to find like your new community or your new tribe, like maybe like a partner, a lover. It's like so important to get to know yourself and to go
and
through a lot of things and to feel a lot of things that are right in a way ripe to be felt and to be released, to be really seen.
mm,
Yeah, so I spent like almost like a year, like kind of on my own. I felt like, but I was healing a lot and in a way, yeah, I kind of like really a lot of things changed. They don't have much reference to my old life.
mm,
But so many new things came and so many like amazing beings came, like you and like other, people in my life whom perhaps I wouldn't have met if I would just chose to be the same.
Totally. Yeah, there's so many elements to that in the way that in order for the new to come in, there must be a relinquished capacity almost for, that on another level. And I think it was a really hard part of the journey for a lot of people who I speak to and myself was letting go of the people who weren't, t good for my evolution or my growth, really. Um, because when you do that, even though you're just almost setting a boundary for yourself, the offense that is felt by the other people who maybe aren't in that place or they haven't healed certain parts of themselves, then there's a resistance there with them. And it's kind of like you want to create confluence, if that's the right term, to appease the other people. And there's that people pleasing aspect. And that's something that everybody goes through on this one is like the people pleasing side of things. We will compromise parts of ourself in order to fit in with people who, don't who aren't in alignment with themselves. Then it's no better or worse, higher or lower. It's not about that. It's about really us just um, recognizing what is healthy for us and then moving into that place. And that means that other people aren't going to like you to a certain degree because they'll call you arrogant or whatever it is. And that's something that you just have to get over on this part of the path. But no, it's not them as well. It's not them who's saying these things and creating the smear campaigns and all of this stuff. It's a part of them that feels hurt by it, I guess. But if they do look at that, then they'll be able to free themselves from it. But yeah, it is. It's been a hard part of the journey for me, is that letting go, so that I can then allow other people in. And then there's a really interesting thing that came up when you were saying that as well, and it's about how when these new people do come into your life, there's almost an element of still distrust and still a lingering feeling of like uncertainty about that because of the path that we walk, and we do surrender certain parts of it. When these new people come in, there's an adjustment period almost, that's like, oh, these people going to do the same thing? I don't know if they are. It's like, no, it feels quite nice, but I don't know. There's still like a resistance there. And it's kind of like since I've been up with Kate, it's been really beautiful to be able to speak out exactly what's going on in my head and for it to be received in both ways from a place of kindness and compassion rather than a place of, oh, that's an affront against me or whatever it is. And it's lovely because like the ego mind tries to make up reasons why this won't work in order to protect yourself. But then the only way that you can realize that this is true is just through time and patience and acceptance of yourself and the other person, isn't it? And it's like it's been a real interesting um, dynamic shift within my own consciousness, I think, is just, oh no, these people are really, really cool and I like them and I can't, there's almost like there's a fault finding side to our consciousness that's trying to protect us, but it will only be sort of like realized over time. And that's what you say is like coming out of that. I know now coming out of that time where it's like I've just hidden myself away and I've really got to know myself. Now it's time to share that beauty of who we are with the world. And I think everybody from the collective, everybody's going through that sort of stuff right now. So it's time to crawl out of the hermit crab shell and maybe get a new one on another island somewhere and meet loads of other new hermit crabs as well who are also going like, oh, I don't know, are you okay? Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, cool. Ah, right, okay. And then your nervous system gets regulated with these people. And it's something that you said when I came up to Scotland with you. And you just said like, I don't feel worn out by your energy. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't feel worn out by your energy either. And it's just like, oh, it's so nice to just be around somebody and you get lifted rather than like, you know, like right the way down. And that's it. So for anybody who's, wondering about this and you are around people who are draining your energy and you can feel your energy going down, listen to that, and then listen to also when your energy gets raised up, go and spend time with those people. That's it, and that's how we find one another. And there's another element to this that I'll go into quickly, and it's about the storage chakras. Like there's a light grid around the storage chakras, and it will literally repel, like a magnet when you turned against the positive and the positive or whatever. It will literally repel on an energetic sense. In like a fifth dimensional energy sense, it will literally repel people from you, and you can feel it. It's like I literally can't talk to you anymore. I used to be able to talk to you. I literally have nothing to say to you anymore. This is so weird, you know? And that's your light grid going, no, like that. And then it's like, oh, you meet other people and your light grid is like, yeah, cool. These are sound, you know what I mean? They're at that place, you know. Not to say that the other people aren't, but it's like they're just learning to get to that point where you are in coherence. That's the term. But yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, coherence. Like my friend recently said that there was like an experiment where like I think with tuning fork, and when one tuning fork is vibrating at a certain frequency, so only another fork that vibrates at the same, also same at a certain frequency, then we attract the others that
Mm,
vibrate at a certain frequency, and that's how we can find our people. Um,
yeah. So that's kind
yeah,
of how everybody it's like attracts like, isn't it? And it's the magnet thing, you know. Everybody says, "Oh, I don't believe in energy and all of this sort of stuff." Well, it's irrelevant whether we believe in it or not because it is there, isn't it? You know, and it's like these opposing forces, or like attractive forces. It's the law of attraction as well, isn't it? It's like everything that's meant for you is always trying its hardest to come towards you. But it's only us that repel it, you know, through fears or unconscious programming or whatever it is. But as soon as you allow the floodgates and you put your hands up and go, cool, yeah, okay, you're allowing and you're surrendering to that energy flow then, and then you become coherent with that, and then it's like you literally start attracting the right people, you know. I don't understand how it works, like how we met, like you know, is unfathomable. You know, it's like what was it? It was just at that right time, wasn't it? And how I met with like Kate and Alex, and you know, how was it? Because we are like soulmates, and yet we. How has that happened? Forget it. You can't understand it. We're dealing with like infinite intelligence here that is always pulling them people towards you, you know. Whereas we're in the individuated ego mind, it's going, oh, it's not possible. So it's like, okay, no, it's not possible then. But we're creating all of that, isn't it? But yeah, trying to figure it out how it all ties together in that infinite jigsaw piece puzzle is just, oh, it's amazing. I love thinking about that stuff, but there's no way that I'll be ever be able to understand it, you know, because that would take the magic away, wouldn't it? You know, it's like,
exactly, that's what I wanted to say. It just takes the magic away, and there is like the element of grace in our
mm,
lives. You know, we don't need to figure out everything on our own.
yeah,
Because something just interferes or intervenes, and
yeah,
so that's why the prayer is so powerful. Or just like when you are out of moves, as I say, when you really don't know what to do with something, you know, or you're at a crossroads, you can just ask, like, how should I do it? You know,
mm,
please give me the answer. And your subconscious will, like this force, you know, starts to
mm,
move you in that direction. And you just ask that question and sit with it, you know, and like, oh, I don't know. And what
yeah,
now? I will stay in my I don't know, because
mm,
the mind knows only what the mind knows, what you've written in it, and it doesn't know anything new. This, you know, conscious mind. This is
mm,
so boring because, like, how the new information comes, it's
mm,
definitely not you can't think your way, you know. It's just it comes. Just allow it to come, like from the source, like from the collective, from like the wise one. Like,
mm,
yeah,
yeah.
it's all there. Mm.
It's the openness, isn't it? And it is the best term for God, the divine source, the universe is openness. You know, if you're not open to it, then there's no way it can allow it in. You know, it's like it's that contracted state and the open state, isn't it? You know, it's like not allowing and allowing, I guess. Um, and yeah, it is like, and that's why you say asking questions. I don't know what this is about. You know, it's like show me, and it will show you because it's consent you. You're going, please show me, you know, in whatever way. That's the real beauty of it. So if anybody's listening to this, like as an example of this, like I didn't understand why I had certain subconscious patterning, where I would create drama around things, you know, when I felt as though I'd done something wrong. And a couple of days I was like, I don't understand why I do these things. Like, please, like just send me something that will catalyze this awareness because I don't have awareness of it and it's confusing. And literally 2 days later, I was painting a door, and all of a sudden, this memory came in that helped catalyze this awareness. And I was just like, oh my! As soon as it came in, I was going through this memory in my head and going, oh, that's it. That's why I do this thing. It's because I wanted love. Of course, it's all because I wanted love. You know, it's like, and that was it. You know, and saying to somebody, "Oh, just ask your guides," you know, and they're going, "What?" You know, ask your guides. Yeah, they're there all the time, going like, "We've got all these tools here, man. Like, all you got to do is ask," you know. So it's like, yeah, if anybody is struggling with something they don't quite fully understand, you know, be patient and just ask. Ask it. It doesn't have to be your guides. Ask God, source, whatever. Just go, I don't understand what it is. Please, can you help me understand this a little bit better so that I can come to a place of peace with it? And it will happen. It will happen, you know. But maybe not in the way that we think, you know, it's going to be a gift wrap book saying that this is your life. It's not like that, you know. More often it will put a memory in your mind and you'll be able to go like, oh, cool. Oh, right, 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 okay. And then you can help to integrate it and put it to bed. That's it, you know. So yeah, but anything else that you want to talk about, Egle? Don't know how long we've been on for, but yeah, it's
Let's
wrap
not
up.
make it too long. How to remain a human in this like unhuman world?
Love it. Love it.
It's like for me, it's like how to be awake in this dream. So that's why presence really appeals to me because I feel okay, I'm still a human because yeah, I'm awake and I notice things and I just like look around and kind of witness myself. But yeah, how to remain a human? So
How to remain human? Well, I like going fishing, and I like eating chocolate. It's like just that yeah, we are higher dimensional beings, you know, and I feel as though it's a big part of my purpose is helping people to ground, and embodying more truth, you know, and that's what grounding is, isn't it, really? It's embodying more truth. But, you know, don't deny yourself the human things like for instance, you know, do normal things, you know, alongside all of the spiritual practices and all of this sort of stuff as well. But to be human is just have a laugh. That is the uh, most yeah, like keying in thing for me that I think has been missed out of like a lot of men's gathers and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to integrate a lot of the humor into stuff because it's so grounding. You feel human. Like I have a very dark sense of humor, for a good reason. You know, it's like, you know, the darker it is, the funnier it is really, because if you can laugh in the face of adversity, you become a lot more human, I guess, you know. But do your do balance everything. That's what I do is like I do these spiritual practices. You know, I do the fast every now and again, but I also go fishing. I love eating cake. You know, it's like I just balance it all, and that's it. And it's not taking it all too seriously because if there's ever where it's off one side or it's off the other side, you'll notice that imbalance, you know. So it's like, you know, and my friend actually, Natty, she really helped me with this because she's like, certain times when you want to be human, she just watches Gossip Girl. I have no idea what Gossip Girl is, but she goes and watches really crappy TV, like mind-numbing stuff. And eat some sweets, and like that's the way to like balance everything because we are human as well, you know. And yeah, just whatever works for you, whatever it is that you love to do that you're like, oh, that's a bit naughty. Go and do that thing every now and again, because that's the way to remain human as well as a galactic being or whatever, you know. It's like, but that's it. That's why I go fishing. But humor, watch whatever makes you laugh, because that will really ground you into who you are here now. So whatever that is, like I love watching comedy because Yeah, it just makes me feel human, like Peter Kay, Northern, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. For me, that's what works, but everybody has to find what works for them, really. But yeah, generally, whatever it was that you used to do as a child that make you feel really light and good,
Exactly.
go and do those things. Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
a
For me, it's
great
like
way to end it. Yeah.
children and animals and nature.
Mhm.
These are our guides, our teachers, and they are right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally. And I've got a theory about kids and stuff is that they are literally our greatest seafoods, our greatest guides. Like we're all going like, oh no, 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 I need to do stuff like this and be like that. Not, no, no, follow the kids. Like whatever they're doing, go and do that. It's huge. It's huge. And we totally like patronize children, going like, it must be this way, it must be that way. And it's like, no, children have no fear. They don't know, and that is the essence of where we're all trying to get to. So yeah, look at what the kids do and go and do that thing. Like for instance, the other day we went go-karting for an hour and it was fantastic. It was fantastic, you know. Like we were all there like, oh, coming out of it and be like, whoa, that was so good, wasn't it? It's like I love all that stuff. So yeah, yeah, watch the kids, do what they do. Or not, you can do whatever you want. That's it. Right, sound. Right, spot on. Thank you very much, Egle, for that. It's really nice to see you again. And anybody, watch this space because Egle is going to be a massive part of sort of like the healing circles. I feel massively because of what she's gone into, and yeah, seek that discomfort or not. Everybody can do whatever they want. That's it, really. Any final words, Egle?
Oh, yeah, just be a human and everything else will follow. I'm really
Mm,
grateful for our conversation because it again didn't drain my energy. I just have even more energy.
yeah.
Can't wait to walk my dog now, go
Hmm.
into town and share a smile. And yeah, do as little things as possible so that
Mm,
you have space just to be and yeah, do
yeah.
all the yeah, watch the Gossip Girl and eat chocolates and cheesecake in moderation. And then a bit of
Exactly.
qigong. Qigong in the morning, cheesecake in the
Yeah.
afternoon. Yeah, like I feel we always have to work, like work first, and have like this created pleasure
Yes.
afterwards. And that's the
Yeah.
balance. Yin and yang, masculine and feminine, action and rest.
Yeah, that's it, the middle path. And I think when everybody does key into that, you feel so much better in a day just from going out and doing like, I don't know, a bike ride or, something that you may be like, oh God, that requires it. Go and do those things and then come back and then enjoy yourself. And literally, it's an internal job of that gratification of whatever it is that you've done in the day. And we all feel so much better for that. It's like get your work done exactly as you say, but don't, if you're gratifying yourself just for the sake of gratifying yourself, then it generally has a reverse effect, whereas if you're getting all this stuff done and then you can literally pat yourself on the back and chill out and watch some Gossip Girl if you want. That's it.
And that's why children need parents, because like we are great, but but we are here to become children again, like as to be our own parents and yeah, to preserve our child. So we're here to play, but responsibly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're not hurting anybody, then you can do whatever it is that you want to do in this lifetime, So go and follow whatever that next highest excitement is, and you'll find your way to your bliss, you really will. But enjoy the process as well. That's it, because it's right here, right now, And well, I always say this, when we die, we'll look back and go, oh, it was all beautiful. It was all amazing, and it was just my perception of it. It was like, oh, I'll get it in the future, and it's like it's it right here, right now, So enjoy whatever it is that you do, and who you are, because when you do that, then the world reflects back to you in the most beautiful ways, all of that. So yeah, perfect, lovely. Awesome. Love it. Thank you very much, Egle. And yeah, this will be on YouTube somewhere, which you'll be watching it on, maybe on Spotify as well, if I can get it on Spotify. I haven't done that yet, but there you go. Right. All right. Thank you very much, mate. All right. Toodaloo.
Love you. Lots of love.
Love.